It was written and performed in a way they did legal documents in that day. We still do it. You write the document out and people sign it. This thing is only signed in type by two people, Hancock and Charles Thompson, the secretary. So that's one thing that you never hear. I mean, I think it's kind of, it's interesting if not important, but it tells you that, what this tells me is that there was a real good PR game going. They made the announcement, we all agree, but they hadn't all agreed. But the one didn't disagree, they just didn't vote, so they abstained. Now, if New York would have voted no, and everybody else voted yes, then what would have happened? We don't know. But that's why I believe they erased what was in here of the United States, and they made it smaller, but of the 13 United. Does it make sense to make those words smaller? No, only if you realize they had it written already, and they changed the title. Because it was on animal skin, he could very easily scrape the ink off. That's not a theory that's accepted by most historians, but most of them have not done the research that I have, unfortunately. But that's an argument for another day. Now, this is a document. This is what the original I showed you a while ago. It looks like you can't read it. This is what it should look like if it was just taken reasonable care. You can read it. You can read the whole thing. But what's interesting about this, and this was written in 1776, and it's very readable. It looks like maybe it was written a couple weeks ago. But that's the way the original should look. Now, the reason it doesn't is because the anesthetic process damaged it. At least it triggered the damage. I suspect that when they took the plates off the original, some ink probably came off with it, because they never said anything about that afterwards. And they never said much about it. There's only a few references to that at all. But I think that's one thing about the anesthetic process. It didn't become very popular because it frequently damaged or ruined originals. Then photography came along and new printing techniques. So this was a messy system, so we got a new system. So that's why it didn't last very long. But this is what it should look like. An interesting thing about this, 1776, is signed by John Nixon. He was the first person to do a public reading of the Declaration. He did that, I think it was July 4th, 6th, I think it was. Then these copies that I showed you before, the public announcement, went to various communities. And it was read. And of course, 200 copies, we only have 26, or even part. So all of those are not in good shape. But some towns, the printer would get to see this copy. He'd make his own copy. Occasionally, you can find one of those. The last one sold for $600,000 because they've only found 2 copies of it. But you can always come afterwards and look at the material and pump me for any questions you want. Try to stump me. That's what I'm looking for. Because right now, at this point, I can't think of any questions, serious question, that I don't have an answer for.